This Saturday, January 27th, will mark 7 months since my daughter vanished without a trace. Since that day, I have been fighting like hell to get her seen and get her story heard. On Saturday, June 24th, I received a message from Layla's boyfriend. It was sent through her Facebook account. I didn't know it then, but this message would be the catalyst to changing the rest of my life forever. As you can see, he simply asked if I knew whether or not my daughter was in jail. I responded with these questions. I got no response from him. So I called the jails and I called the hospitals. She wasn't at either. By 11:45 that same night, I had given up and gone to bed. My daughter must have logged into her account and noticed that I was kind of freaking out, so she immediately messaged to let me know that she was okay. Following morning, I had this conversation with her. The last thing she said to me was, "I love you so much more." I will cherish those words forever. I spent most of Sunday, June 25th, living my life. I had spoken to Layla that morning, didn't think anything was wrong, but Monday morning I got these messages from her boyfriend, from her account, and they were a little concerning. Here are some messages I sent him in response. And some more of this conversation. That night, I spoke with Layla's biological father in New Jersey because her boyfriend had been in contact with him and had been putting up missing persons posts on Facebook since Saturday. Layla's dad and I talked. I was under the impression that you couldn't report an adult missing for 48 hours and asked him to wait until 8 a.m. the next morning and we could call on three-way together to report her. He couldn't sleep and decided that he was going to go ahead and call it in sometime in the middle of the night that night. In the early morning hours of June 27th, a missing persons investigation began. Detectives started at Layla's boyfriend's house. Everyone who lived there was home and cooperative. I didn't speak to detectives until the next day. Well, it was June 27th, but you get what I'm saying. June 27th, around 4 o'clock, I have a conversation with the lead detective on the case. He informs me that my daughter had been at the AmeriCorps Hotel in Kingsport the night before. She had been knocking on doors. It seemed that she couldn't remember what room she was visiting and was causing some kind of ruckus. Management had to come out and talk to her, told her she needed to figure out what she was doing or she was going to be trespassed, put on the trespass list. And they would call the cops and have her booted. This means that while we were trying to decide whether or not to call her in as a missing person, she was alive and well and seen by multiple witnesses. Wednesday, I sent a group of friends to the AmeriCorps Hotel to look for her because by then I was still thinking that she was there. Maybe she was shacked up with a new guy. I don't know. I sent a group of friends up there to kind of stake the place out, knock on the door of the room that she was believed to be in. And when they got there, Layla's boyfriend was also there staking the place out. They all spent hours running up and down the Greenbelt, which runs behind that hotel and some stores. And it's our cycling, skating, walking, running trail that runs through town here. We began putting up missing persons posts on the book face. And we got a lot of comments of people saying that they saw her at this hotel or that hotel. So the following week, while I was with one of Layla's friends, when we were going out with flyers and asking people and talking to people that ran the hotels and stuff, I received a message from Layla's dad's girlfriend that said, "Hey, I'm getting these monetary requests on Cash App from Layla's account. I don't know what this means. Let's try and figure this out. I get my hopes up. I'm hoping and praying she is on the other end of this." Here are some of the messages I got from her Cash App account that day. By the end of the night, we had asked the person on the other end some pretty personal questions that only Layla would know the answer to, and they avoided answering all of them. So I was done having conversations with this person. It couldn't be her, and she couldn't be with them. because she would be able to answer the questions that we asked. Layla's dad's girlfriend, however, kept the conversation going back and forth, and she got some pretty gruesome messages. I couldn't find the screenshots of those, but it was stuff like, if you don't pay me, you're gonna find her chopped into bits and pieces. It was pretty vulgar and awful, and a terrible thing for someone to do to a family already in crisis. August 5th was Layla's 21st birthday. We held a candlelight vigil and prayed for her return. Monday, August 7th, we sat down with detectives and went over everything that they had so far on her disappearance and learned that on Monday, the 26th, when we thought Layla was staying at the AmeriCorps Hotel, she had taken off. Multiple witnesses said that she took off into the woods and slept out in the woods for God knows why. I don't know why. My heart dropped when I heard that. It's so unlike her to do such a thing, and it terrified me. The next morning, witnesses saw her leave the woods, cross a field, and she walked over to a group of guys that were going to work at a warehouse and asked to bum a cigarette. Nobody had one. She said, "Thank you, have a great day," and she walked off. Later that day, there are witness reports of her being at the Marble Slab Creamery around noon. She was shoeless, wearing black leggings and a white tank top, and had nothing with her. And she told the lady at the Marble Slab she was going to cross the parking lot and go to Five Below and try and get herself a pair of cheap sandals. And she's never been seen or heard from since. Layla is my firstborn child. She has a 2-year-old daughter. We miss her dearly. These monthly benchmarks, this counting, it's always hard on my emotions and my mental health. In a few days, I will have to come to terms with the fact that it has been 7 months and a new year has begun and she still isn't here. Baby girl, if you're out there, I need you to know that I don't want to do this. I don't want to go on living without you. Please come home.